me as well. As Jeff said, I am in charge of publisher relations and oversee global marketing for the Mirasol project. This is what our lawyers require us to do. I'm not making any promises and any deliveries, but we have to do this. All right, so who is Qualcomm? I think everyone in the room knows who Qualcomm is. It is the #1 fabless mobile chipset provider in the world. And it's a pretty large infrastructure technology, the backbone of how we communicate wirelessly. So the big question I get is, why is Qualcomm, a chipset, fabless chipset provider, interested in displays? And the answer is actually really quite simple. The display is the #1 power consuming component on the device. And if you can offset that power, then you really are creating more time on the device, and you're actually driving additional revenue streams on devices that are powered. And the inspiration for this technology actually came from using the color in the room, the ambient light that's in the room, and that's how we obtain our color. And it's very simplistic. Engineers hate when I say that, but it's a simple design, simple sheets of glass with microelectrical mechanical systems, and it modulates light wave. And there's a cross-section for you to look out there. The difference between that and LCD is fundamentally you're not fighting layers of chemicals in order to have that light be emitted from the display. A reflective display will naturally send that light back out, so you're not fighting chemicals and layers, and that's really the attribution of this power drain. So what is the actual power drain? What do you actually get? This is from our Qualcomm labs, an analysis of an electrophoretic display versus a Mirasol display, and we know electrophoretic devices are certainly very low power, which is why I think folks love them. And the Mirasol display is about a 2 milliwatt, but you get color with that and you get motion with that, which is really where the market is evolving. And of course, with a liquid crystal display, the power draw is significantly greater, 1,640 milliwatts comparatively. And so fundamentally, a few years back when Paul Jacobs decided to acquire what was then a very small group of engineers called Ereader, it was based on that premise that we really had to find power savings and we really had to offset all of the things that were happening on the handset. We're watching TV, we're social media, we're interacting, and fundamentally all the activities on the handset were increasing at this very high trajectory, yet the battery technology had not made any fundamental advances. And we're still in that same situation today. I mean, is there anyone in this room that is sitting strategically near a charger? Okay, you are, and then the rest of you will be later, so you'll be fighting for those guys' seats. So we know that. That is just the human experience with mobile devices and anything that's reliant on a battery. So what is Mirasol? Where are we headed? So we're low power, we're color, we support motion, multimedia. And in this marketplace, you see that there are many electrophoretic devices. Thanks to Amazon, now we have some color e-readers out there, which certainly has made this, I think, an interesting time to have this conference. And then, of course, we have the iPad. And these are two very different experiences for very different types of folks. And really, the big question is the tablet going to eat the e-reader market? And where we're headed is that no, there's actually an opportunity for a whole new category of a device. And that's a hybrid device, a device that is still lightweight and still viewable outdoors, yet providing color and providing all those things that we've come to expect from really both of these categories, e-readers and tablets. So the big question that I get is, are you launching an e-reader or are you launching a tablet? And I think that's an excellent question, especially to researchers like yourself, Jeff. I mean, I'm sure you get asked that all the time, and what's going on here. And I believe there's a distinct difference, but probably not for the same reasons that I hear from the industry. The e-reader market isn't dead, but what is that distinction for these tablets versus an e-reader? And these are all the questions I had mentioned earlier. You know, is it interactive? You know, maybe some of these questions were asked yesterday, maybe they were answered, but if not, I really would kind of like to go through this and just say, what makes this different? Does the onset of a color LCD reader satisfy the existing e-reader customer requirements? So I'll walk through that briefly. Our position is that the display component is actually the deciding factor for determining is it an e-reader or is it a tablet. Because, here we go again on shameless props for surfing, the display is the window to whatever the content experience may be. And to that end, if you look at what e-readers have provided and what they focus on is really this expectation that you're going to perform like a book. You're going to be lightweight. There's not going to be any direct light emitted into your eye. It is going to be the same contrast as paper. So just as you read your Wall Street Journal in ambient light in your bed or outdoors or whatever, there's no modulation that has to happen. This is a printed page. And that's where we see displays that have that reflective capability really capturing the e-reader market, e-reader user. Of course, the big thing is power. Is the power going to be measured in weeks as the e-reader consumer has come to expect it to be? What happens when that e-reader then becomes a color LCD? Are they going to have that same experience? Well, probably not. And one thing to note too is that what we're seeing in working with business development globally is a distinct interest in the educational market. For these type of reflective substrate displays that have long power. Conversely, if you look at tablets, obviously this is very interesting. I remember I am still very much fascinated with tablets, and I think we all are. How many have a tablet in the room today? Almost everybody. How about a reader, e-reader? Both? Anyone have both? Look at you. We've got a few of them over here. Okay, so you got a heavy backpack, I know it. But yeah, you know, that is effectively it. These are different and distinct devices. And effectively, the comment I like to make about having a tablet is you may have a job, if you only had a tablet, you may have a job where you actually don't really have to do any work, you just guide folks, because these are not productivity tools. You're not actively in there working in an office environment with productivity applications, and I think that's a distinct difference as well. Of course, power is measured in hours on these things. These are almost exclusively indoor devices. The reflectance is a bit of a challenge. And they're, conversely, as we talk to educators globally, the consensus is, do we want to outfit classrooms with a strip of a battery strip and chargers and 40 chargers in the classroom? So there's a real distinction there when you're talking about taking power off the grid and equipping classrooms with digital devices and reading tools. Earlier this year, we had done a survey with the Harrison Group. They do wealth studies, and they had asked owners of iPads and various tablets and e-readers what the initial thought was of these devices. And everyone's enthused, you know, overwhelmingly, 85% are very much saying this is the best technology that they see. 50% are frustrated with the learning curve, as we would all be with new technologies. It's a little bit more complicated than they expected it to be in terms of syncing and being connected to multiple cables and so forth. And the net is that while we can be enthused with the product, doesn't mean that we're certainly satisfied. So I feel like there's still a lot of evolution that has to happen on these tablet devices. But the question really is back to the component. Can a component actually drive a difference all the way to the consumer level? We believe that it does. If you're changing consumer behavior, if you're making strategic decisions to walk indoors to take the phone call or to hide under a tree to shield your display from sun, then that's a consumer behavior. And it's one of those things that as consumers, we've just accepted that that's how it works. And when we start to see these reflective substrates, and with the onset of ink devices who've now been out since 2007, that e-reader group has come to really love and cherish the fact that you can see this reflective display anywhere. And the complaint always was, now how do we get to that color? And how do we get to that motion? And so we still have not seen that happen in technology, and that's really the promise of Mirasol, the ability to see the content and to have it in color and to have it supported with motion. So has the consumer's expectation changed? Well, I think that it has, and this is just a quick summary snapshot of an Amazon evolution. As I mentioned, in 2007, one thing's for sure is that we're seeing their prices drop on devices. No surprise to anyone in this room, of course. Better content, which is great for everyone. Literacy and more reading is certainly the right way to go. But it really is, what the trends that we're seeing is you're still dealing with the fundamental issues of an LCD technology. And the promise is not going to be the same as it were with a reflective display. The big thing that I took from all the coverage of the launches this week was that really the device, while certainly important and drives feature set, this is a really a story about content. And content is really defining how we're interacting with these devices. That same study I referenced earlier from the Harrison Group really says that folks are actually reading more digital content than they ever thought they would. They're spending more money on things to read, and they're also supplementing print. So in some ways, where we would hear these statements that books are dead and the print industry is going away, Harrison says that's absolutely not the case. It's a hybrid. So how much are these folks spending on this content? Well, on the smartphones, it's a little bit less. Qualcomm's position with this Mirasol display technology is to support e-readers and multi-functional devices, but ultimately this is really about the handset. On the e-readers, you'll see that that is actually the highest amount of content, and we're seeing a large representation of women reading and buying. And I don't think that's news to anyone in this room, especially Shelley. We're shoppers, right? So women are spending the money. You guys are a tough group this morning. Let me just tell you that, okay?
The coffee hasn't kicked in.
Yeah, all right. So I'm going to be passing out coffee later. We're going to do surf lessons. It's going to be great. I may have went a little fast, so that'll leave me some time to talk about, to answer some questions. But, you know, the net is that we're readers. And however it is that we choose to read on whatever format, it certainly is to our global advancement that we continue to do that. Americans love to read, and we're leading the global trend. Of course, Qualcomm is a global company. We look at emerging markets and so forth, and we are definitely leading the trend in Asia and other markets. And I'll just point out that my main statement here today is that I believe that the tablet is a very distinct and different device than an e-reader. And I believe that just as video didn't kill TV, and tablets are not going to kill e-readers. And there was just some news this morning reiterating that from Pew, that this trajectory is going to continue to go this way. An important consideration from a Qualcomm perspective is that all of these devices are connected, and as I stated, that the content is key, but publishers really have to react and retrofit to the new medium and manage the sustainability of their strategic digital bet. So if you're paying $40,000 to develop an app and you're only having 4 people download it, you really have to take a step back and look at the real estate and the investment. And so what are those new channels? And the recommendation is pairing them with a digital partner that can really help you look around corners in terms of what devices are coming out in the next year and in what markets. Bottom line is that it is a reading revolution. There's specific markets in Asia where the digital reading is doubling. I believe I threw in there, the Korea Publisher Association reported that digital book sales are up 60% from last year. So while digital reading is certainly a hot topic, it's reconfirmed that this is a global trend and this is the way it's going to continue to go. And that's pretty much it. I can take questions. Yeah.
Where is Qualcomm in the development of the Mirasol display?
That's an excellent question, and I anticipated that, and so there we go. So we have a fab in Taiwan. It's a Generation 4.5 fab, and that is the fab that's actually supporting the shipments of devices that we'll be bringing to market at the end of the year. So that,
end of this year?
Yeah, end of this year. And so that those panels are shipping to partners. And we have also, you may have seen a few months ago where we made an announcement of another fab that's actually 5 times larger than this, that's going to be coming online fairly soon. And you know, it's a bit of a chicken and egg game, right? You got to have the volume to have the partner, and you have to have the partner to have the volume, right? So it's the burden of a new technology, but the long trajectory here is really about what is this going to do for the handset. It all goes back to that, you know, first line is we got into this business to offset that fundamental problem. Battery technology is waning, and we're continuing to ask all of these devices to do multiple things at multiple times.
So who will you ship those to?
That's an excellent question. And I will tell you soon, before the end of the year. How's that? Oh, we almost broke some news here today. Almost.
That's what you said at CES.
Yes, this is true. You know, the challenge as a component supplier is that, you know, we don't control the whole process, right? You know, we work with multiple partners, and this is a volume game, right? There's a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors, a lot of commentary about who we're going with and where we're going with, and believe me, it's been all fun. It's been fun, but we're very close now, and you'll start to hear some stuff very shortly about that progression.
Can you say how many? Meaning, do you expect one product on the market or 5 products on the market?
Let's just say multiple products in multiple markets.
Can you tell us the size?
5.7. So it's going to still be that XGA, and actually I think I have let's see if I have one on a better image here. It's really about that size. The design of a 5.7 is really the ability for it to be pocketable. The 5.7 fits in almost every man's jacket pocket, believe it or not. And maybe there's some little guys out there it doesn't work for, but it's a portable, lightweight device. It really does try and mimic the weight of a paperback. And of course, as you can see, phenomenal outdoor viewability and color.
One more question.
Sure.
How does the OEM cost of a Mirasol compare to e-ink?
Yeah, you know, it's a competitive marketplace, and as you can imagine, with multiple entrants and multiple scenarios, it's a negotiation that happens, a very unique situation every single time. But we know that we have to remain competitive, and we also know that building a new technology from the ground up, where we have just fundamentally said we're not taking LCD and evolving it and modifying. We've basically broken the mold and started over. You know, that takes time, and any innovation worth having that promises this type of consumer behavior, where you're really impacting consumer behavior, is certainly worth the wait.
Prices?
Prices, well, thank you, Amazon's got to be competitive, right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, it's got to be competitive.
So that's the range?
Yeah, well, definitely not. I can't say that because there's multiple partners with multiple offerings to the consumer that have different values. But I will say this, is that we know that there's a huge segment out there that think that the tablets, the predominant tablets in the marketplace today, are just too expensive. In the holiday season, it'll be very interesting to see what the tablet sales are going to be like. And
will it be here for the holiday shopping season?
Yeah, before the close of this year.
November.
Before the close of this year, they're going to be out there. Yeah, so we're very curious to see what's going to happen, what the shopping habits are going to be.
So originally, earlier on in the year, there was a lot of excitement about a Mirasol branded e-reader, and then roughly about 3 or 4 months ago, was kind of labeled as canceled / in limbo. What exactly happened with that? Why was the decision made to pull it when there was so much market interest in it?
Yeah, absolutely market interest, no doubt. And I'm glad you brought that up because effectively what we do as a component suppliers, we sell components, right? We work with multiple partners on affecting the design, advisement on content strategies and so forth. But at the end of the day, it's a marriage, right? Some marriages don't always work out, right? That's not a personal comment. But at any rate, we had a partner that we had lined up. It was what we believed was a good device. The fit and finish on this device, and this is exactly what our CEO, Paul Jacobs, said, you're right, a few months ago, is that it just didn't meet that quality in terms of interactivity with the device. The UI, there was fit and finish, but the displays actually performed great. So it's not an issue of display, is it the right partner and the right volume, and is it at the level of quality that Qualcomm requires?
A question about the display itself. When compared with an LCD, the usual comment is, oh, it's much less saturated, fewer colors, etc.
Right.
But the real competition is going to be with e-ink's color, not with an LCD. How does it compare to the e-ink color?
Well, here are a couple of questions in there, so we'll tease it apart. The color is not intended to mimic an LCD, and we say that from the outset. It's a beautiful design that we should never apologize for. The aesthetic is the shimmering look of natural color. That's how we get our power, and that's how we get our power advantage. Your second statement was color e-ink and that being the real competitor. I think that the color e-ink displays that I have seen are a pastel at best. Again, hats off to e-ink and PVI for great work. They're the ones that really started this so many years ago, and so we have a lot of honor for what they've done. But they also need to market this, right? So they're, if you want to talk about, multiple attempts to come to market, we've yet to see that come to market. So when it's out there, we certainly will be watching.
One more question.
Sure.
How many years do you think it'll take for the operation to reach break even?
That is certainly, not only do I not have the answer, I would probably be fired if I did answer. So we're all about honesty here behind the podium today. Qualcomm got into this business because they know this is about handset and the billions of handsets that are out there and offsetting that power. And so on that path to handsets, we are in the e-reader space, but the trajectory has never changed. It's about equipping the #1 dominant platform in the world, and that is the handsets. And we're seeing those handsets sizes increase, right? So when we got into the business, when I started with QMT or Qualcomm MEMS Technologies, it was a bichrome business, right? It was a clamshell. And then all of a sudden, I go back and I look at old slides, and you just can't believe how fast the evolution has changed in the marketplace. There is no bichrome in handsets anymore, and color is the requirement. And e-ink has set that standard of outdoor viewability being the requirement for these e-reader devices. And so, if color is to come, excellent. That's great. That's great for content providers. That's great for everyone. But then there's that question of interactivity with the content. So you can get color, but are you able to support motion? And that's what we're seeing from the educators, is they want the classroom to be able to interact. They want to see the words move across the screen. And so that's another consideration to keep in mind.
Thank you, Cheryl.
That's probably the first time I've ever stayed on time or under time, so you're welcome.